In this video, we're going to learn how to add style to our navigation list to make it look more like a navigation bar. What we have so far is we have the HTML of an unordered list, and we've put our links on each list item of that list. And now what we want to do is use that HTML structure to make it and add CSS that will make it look more the way we want. So notice that we already have some style on here. A elements, so A tags, come with an underline and they're colored. So they're blue before you visit them. As soon as you click on one and visit it, then they turn purple. So you get this color, either blue or purple, and you get the underline. Well, let's get started. We want to get rid of this underline. So what we have to do is we have to know what property we need to use. And for that, for underline, we need to use the text decoration property. And the other thing we need to know is what tag do we want to apply it to. And so do we want it to be, if we go to our code, what we see that we have is that we have A tags, we have LI tags, we have UL tags, we have div tags. So we have all of those things in our navigation code. And so we need to know which one do we want to apply it to. So the underline goes with the A, and it's the text decoration property. So if I look up the text decoration property, these are my allowed choices, and right now it's on that default that default underline. I want to set it to none. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to go to my style sheet, and I want to go navigation. Right here's where I have to specify what it is, and it needs to be on the A tag that I want to set this. And so it's called text decoration, and I want to put none. If I save that and then I go back over here and refresh, that gets rid of the underline. All right, now I want to get rid of the bullets on here. Okay, and so I need to know what property that is. That's the list style type property. And if you go to list style type, look at how many different list style types there are. So here's the values, and you can set these on any list. And what we want to do is just simply have none. The next thing we need to know is what we want to set it on, and what we want to set this on is the LI tag. So now I need to have a new style block, navigation LI, and this is any LI inside an element with class set to navigation, and I want to do the list style type, and I want to set it to none. Now if I come back over here and refresh, sure enough, that got rid of those. All right, the next change I want to make is list items are on one line after another, but I want my navigation to be a bar and I want it to go across. So the property we have to change for this is the display property, and there's lots of display properties as well. And currently it is a list item display. That's the default that you get, and we want it to be in line. The second thing I need to know is which tag does this go with, and this also goes with the LI. So I'm going to go ahead and in this one put display, and I want to display this in line. So I save that and come back and refresh, and now I've got them going across here. So I've gotten rid of the underline, I've gotten rid of the bullets, and I've made them go across. Now I've got them all lined up the way that I want them. I want to add color. So I want to add background color and change this text color as well. So I want to give them a background color, and now I'm going to actually do the background color on the LIs. So I just go here and I'm going to do background color, and I'm going to go up here and pick one of my colors that I've been working with that are part of my color scheme. I'm going to set the background color to this. Let's refresh. Okay, so now I have a color. Now I want these buttons to be bigger, right? So I'm going to add padding. Remember that the background color is on the padding but not on the margin. So I want more color, so I'm going to add padding. And again, that's going to be on the LI. And I want the padding to be even, so I'm just going to put it around all of them evenly. So let's go ahead and just, I'll do 12 pixels and see how that goes. All right, so now I've got some padding around there. Now I can use margin to separate them so that there's some more spaces around them. So I can do margin as well. And now the top and the bottom, I don't want to add any margin, so I'm going to put that for the top and the bottom, and the left and the right, I want to add more. So let's go ahead and put 24 pixels on the left and the right and see how that looks. Okay, now that's separated them and kind of spread them across. Looks like I maybe have gone a little bit too far, so I'm going to make them a little bit smaller. Well, I'm going to be playing anyway, so we won't have to be too picky yet. I'm not done. All right, now another thing I want to do is I want to change that coloring. So now the coloring is not on the list item. I'm actually going to have to change the coloring on the A link. Remember, that's the one that's blue. So I need to change the text color, so that property is color. And now I'm going to change this back to exactly the same color that my background is, the background on the whole body, because now that I have a background on the LI, this will make it match with my background and still be very visible. All right, so now I've got those links set aside. Now you can do some other fun things. You can put a radius on them. Now I can't put a radius directly on an LI, but I can put it on a border. So if I add a border to my LI, and I just say, okay, I want a border, and I'm going to just do the shorthand property, and I want it to be solid, and I want it to be 8 pixels, and I want it to be the same color. I don't want it to show up, so I want it to be the same color as the background of these links. Oh, now what happened? Now, do you want to see what happened? I went too far. I have an edge here on my body. I have a width, and I went too far, so it wrapped down there. So I need to get rid of some of that margin. Let's see what happens if we get to 8. As you're playing with these, stuff like this will happen, right, as you're trying to change things as they happen. So now I have the regular one, but now I have borders. So I could even make my padding smaller because my border took some of that. So I could say, well, I don't want my padding quite that big, so let's move the padding down to 4 pixels and refresh it. There we go. And that was more kind of the size that I was looking for. And now that I have a border, I can put on a property called border radius. And I can say, you know what, I want that. And you can pick your size of the radius, and I want it to be the whole border. So I'm going to pick 8 pixels. And now I've got curved edges. Lots of playing that you can do here to make these the way you want them, to make the list look the way you want them. One thing that's great about being able to style navigation is that you can make it so very different. So we can this is one look, and we can get a very different look by just changing a few things. For example, we might say, you know, the border, I want it to be really small, so I'm going to go down to 2 pixels, and I don't want it to have lots of color. And then I'm going to get rid of if I have a really small border, I'm not going to put a radius on it. And I don't want to have any margin. So I'm going to make these really tight. So let's see how it's looking different now. Okay, so they're looking small, but what I want, notice our hover is doing really different things. So let's go ahead and take the hover off of the LI for right now. And see what other changes do we want to make. Okay, so I want to change my background. I don't want to have that background. So I'm not even going to have a background color here. I'm just going to let it flow through and see that background. Okay, now to do this, now I've got to change my color, right? So I've got to change the color because that won't work. So I'm going to go up here and grab one of these colors and make something that can be visible. So notice I'm changing the color on the A tag because that's the part that's showing on the text. So now I can, oh, that didn't work. Oh, that's on the hover. I want to change it up here on the actual color. Okay, now, oh, let's get rid of that too. On the hover, let's not change the background color. We're going to make this just really pretty simple. And let's change it so that the color goes back to just the regular color that matches the rest of the text when it hovers. Okay, and now we're getting, okay, so we have just a really slight change. And now I want to get rid of these gaps between. I want this just to be a tight list. And I've already got margin at 0, and it's still not pulling it tight enough. So I'm going to go ahead and put a minus number in here. And you can actually do this with margins if they're not quite doing what you want them to do. And then suck it up tight. Now notice how this looks entirely different. And really you can go, it needs a little bit more padding, I think. Let me up that padding a bit. And I just get a very different look. And so there's just lots and lots of style that you can do and really play around with these navigations to make them look the way you want them to look.